Chumash and Rashi, the Torah portion, double portion, Tazria-Metzora. We are in the third reading. We continue with, oops, there we go. We continue, Diane, it's in front of you, the Chumash now? Yeah?
No, it's not.
It's not?
It says start meeting.
Oh, okay. Let's do this again. Aha. All right. There we go. We are in Vayikra, Leviticus chapter 13, verse number 40. We continue with different types of tzaras, which we translate as leprosy, but actually, we don't translate it here as leprosy. We just call it tzaras. It's an affliction, a lesion of different sorts that we've spoken about. And we continue now with bald spots that tzaras occur. And as we've learned, this is something from heaven, a heavenly thing that is expressed in a physical malady, skin deep, that is primarily caused because of lashon hara, of evil talk. Okay, verse number 40. V'ish, and a man ki yamaret reishai, when he loses his hair on his head, kereyachu, when he's bald, kereyach meaning bald. Thank you, man. And he's bald, tahar, who he is pure. Again, I don't know why it translates over here. He's not ritually defiled. When it says here, he's pure. Tahar means pure. I don't know why it translates that way. Interesting. Rashi in 40. Kereachu, Taharu, baldy is, and he's pure. Tahar mitumas in nisakim, he's pure from the impurity of nisakim. She'ena nidain, for he's not judged. Bisimani reish nisakim, by the signs of the head of the beard. She'hei makom seir, places where there's hair. Ella, but rather bisimani nega or basar. As the fact of lack of hair has got nothing to do with a sign of tzaras, of this affliction, but the signs of affliction are in the skin and the flesh of the skin, right? Seir lavan michya, with a white hair that's in the healthy flesh, and the spreading, right? That's what we've learned. The fact that there would be a white hair that would grow in this affliction and the spreading of that affliction. That is the determinant. In other words, the verse is coming to say that the determinant is not the loss of hair. Okay? That's good. Hey, Leslie. All right, 41. And if from the paspanav means from the side of his head, right? Yimaret, he loses hair. The translation is if he loses his hair on the side, right? And that would be then the cleaner way to translate it. But I'm giving you the words themselves so you can pick up the words, right? Pas. It was, where did you have the word pas, Leslie? Were you familiar with that word? Payas. That's where payas. That's where payas. Sideburns, right? The side locks or the side burns, right? Of the face, Yimaret Reishe, and he's losing his hair on the side, right? Gibeyachu Taharhu. So he's bald in the front. So it means the previous one was balding in the back, what we just learned, right? Kereyach. Now this is Gibeyach, that he's losing the hair in the front. So, including over here, so he's losing this part. Right? Before, the previous verse was getting bald in the back. This is in the front. Okay, so you're pure, you're not ritually defiled, right? Rashi in 41, even pas panav, the hair falls out towards the face. Mishipua kadkoid, meaning that there's no hair from the crown of the head where it's right, the crown here where it slopes down this way. Kalapi panav towards the face. Gibeah gabachas is called frontal baldness. And the temples of both sides are included. Right, that's why it says pas panav. Mishipua kadkoid, from the loss of hair from the crown to where the head slopes. That includes, right? So it'd be like this forward. Kalapi acharab, towards the back, karachas, and towards the back, right? It's called a karachas baldness, which was the previous verse. Okay, 42. Now, if there will be in this karachas is back baldness. Gabachas is frontal baldness, right? Nega, the nega is the lesion or the affliction. Lavan, that is white. Adam dam, white with red streaks. Taras, that is called taras. Pairachas, it is erupted. So it erupted this lesion in the karachas, the back baldness, or gabachas, the frontal baldness. Rashi nega lavan adam dum. So it's a white reddish lesion, right? Pasuch and other shades. Minayin, shar hamaris. How do we know that there's other shades? Nega. How do we know other shades of this color of white reddish? Because it says nega. So meaning different shades. I don't know why that means. The word nega is lesion, affliction. I don't know why that would. Hmm. Aha. In other words, because we learned previously, the word nega also means a different various shades of this affliction, skin affliction, right? So since it's using this word here, so it means different various shades, I guess, of white reddish. Right. That's from previously we had that. Okay. And he will see it, the koyin, vihine, se'esa nega, and behold, what does he see? What is it? In other words, he sees it, meaning he's examining it. The one, it's interesting, there's a sicha, and the halacha is that a wise person who knows these laws and knows all these different shades and so on and so forth. He's the one who has to actually um, see to know, but it's the kohen who will make the pronouncement. Now, if there's a wise kohen that knows these laws, so then it would, do the one and both things, the examining and the declaration. Behine says anega, and there's a seis. A seis, I mean, it's like it's. I don't know if it's going to give a translation. Okay, there's a seis of the affliction. Lavana dam demis, white with redness. Karachte in the back baldness. Gabachte in his front baldness. Kimare tzaras or basar. It has the appearance of tzaras on the skin of the flesh. Okay, Rashi. Kimare tzaras or basar. So it has this appearance, right, of tzaras on the skin of the flesh. Kimara tzaras, like the appearance of tzaras, Omar that was stated by Parshas on the in the section of the Torah that deals with or basar, with the skin of the flesh, Adam ki yeh ba'or b'tsarai, as there it said, when a person will have on the skin of his flesh, Omara Omar boy, and there it says, what is that appearance that's stated there? Shemitame ba'ar ba maris, that the impurity is caused by 4 different types of shades of white. And the person would be judged over 2 weeks, right? And as it can take up to 2 weeks to determine if this person is definitively impure. But this is not like the affliction on the head that's not judged by the appearance of tzaras, which is right there. It's about an inflammation or a burn. We have different types, right? Shehu nidam b'shavua echad, that's only judged in 1 week. But loy kemara nisakin shel mokum seir, nor is it judged like the appearance of nisakim on the hairy parts of the body. Shem etame arba maris is not does not have the appearance of these 4 different types of impurity. Says v'toldos, says in the offspring, beheres v'toldos, not beheres in the offspring. Right, so the word se'es was something we used with the 4 in the very beginning of the Torah portion. We had the 4 different types of whiteness, right, that were judged, different shades. So what he's saying over here, because using the word kemara tzaras or basar, that it's the appearance of the tzaras on the skin of the flesh. So that was a term that was used when there's different shades. Because we had different type of tzaras. It could be a result of a burn. It could be a result of a inflammation. Those are not judged on different shades. But this is because of that term that's being used here, the similar term. Okay. So now this person that we're talking about over here that he's being examined, and he has this red-white, a white-reddish appearance. Ish tzaruahu. So if he's got that, then he's the man that's afflicted with a lesion, right? He's afflicted. Tamehu, and he's impure. Tame yitamenu hakayin bereisha nigoy. So tame yitamen, and impure, he is impure. The kohen should declare him, right? Pronounce him as so bereisha nigoy. He has got a lesion on his head, right? We're talking here on the head now. Rashi, so bereisha nigoy, term over here that in his head he's got this affliction. Ainli ela nisakin. Why? So I only know over here of a nisakin. How do I know to include the other types of afflictions over here? Aha. Okay. So Rashi is bothered over here because it says he's got an affliction on his head. I mean, that's superfluous. We know that already, right? That's the whole context that we're talking about over here. So why is it saying this? So this is therefore coming to include all other types of tsaras, all the different types, right? It will include the other types of suffering of tsaras. Talmud Loimar, Tami Yitamenu, impure, double verb, includes an infinitive. Larabas is kulam, to include all the types. Al kulam huaymer, keneged frumim ayu, bigadav ayu frumim, his garment shall be rent. I don't know what it means by that exactly. But it means all others, that's what the verse is coming to teach us. Okay. So this afflicted person with tsaras, right, who's got this affliction, bigoda v'yufrumim, his garments must be torn. Parua, and his head has to be allowed to grow, the hair. And he must cover his face down to his mustache. Tame yikare, and he will be defiled. In other words, he will be proclaimed defiled. Frumim means kruim, torn. Pruam megudal seir means that the head must be overgrown hair. Valsasamiyate, oval, and he must cover his face down to his mustache like a mourner. Swasam, sorry, swasam, granon in Old French, is the hair of the lips. Tame yikare, and you call out that he is impure. Mashmiya shehu tame, so he's announced that he's defiled and you have to stay away from him because he's now impure, right? That you don't become impure through him. So what I'm not clear over here, it sounds like this is only got to, is this all of the defilements you have to do this? Or just the head? Not clear on that. Kol yemei asher nega boy tami yitamenu hubadad yeshev mechutz hamachane vayishva. Okay, so yeah, it's speaking about all of the defilements now. Okay, even though it was speaking about, if you had on your head, excuse me, right? But it's, as we learned in the previous verse, the superfluous words is coming to tell us that all of the different kinds of defilement, of affliction, there's a defilement. And in that defilement, when the person he's covering his head till his mouth. Actually, the truth is maybe I'm not certain if that's only for the head. But now this verse is telling anybody who's defiled, right? He has to be isolated. He must dwell outside the camp. Let's see Rashi in 46. Badad Yeshe, he has to dwell alone, isolation. The others who are impure also don't stay with him. There could be others outside the camp, right? In other words, it would be enough just to say he's dwelling outside the encampment, but maybe he could dwell with others who also will have tsaras outside the encampment. But it adds the word badad, alone, meaning alone even from them. Our sages say, man ishtana. What is different? Mishar Tmeim, the one who suffers from tzaras, from other impurities. He has to stay in isolation. Because he was parting B'lashon hara with a malicious negative talk. Ben ish leishtai, between a man and his wife. Ben ish l'reo, between a man and his friend. Afhu yibadol, also he needs to stay apart. As he was separating people by speaking ill about people, right? Bringing a disconnect between people because of speaking lashon hara, so he has to stay separate. Outside the encampment, the three encampments. 47. And the garment that he is wearing, Neged Saras has. Okay, now we're going to the garment. Okay, we're finished with on the skin, on the flesh of the person. Now we're going to the garment of the individual. Now, if there's a garment that has this affliction of tzaras, beged semer, whether it's a garment made out of wool, beged pishtim, or made out of linen, verse 48, where the threads were that they're warp or of a woof of linen or wool, right? Pishtim semer with a linen or wool, or leather even, or any type of work made from leather. It's interesting. What does that mean? Let's see Rashi. The pishtim semer, the shell pishtim shel semer made out of wool, linen or wool, or leather, zeh or. That no work has been done with it, right? It wasn't yet fashioned to be a complete garment, but it also has this law. Or anything that was fashioned from the leather, or that work has been done on it to make it into a complete, final garment. 49. And this garment, Yirakrak, that's green. Rok is green. But a damdam, or blue, or red rather, the bacon in the garment, or on the leather, or whether it's with the warp or the woof, or b'chol kli, or with any kind of what's the word? Any kind of vessel of leather. Neged tzarasu. This is a lesion of tzaras. You have to show to the kohen. Rashi Rakrek, there's a yarek shibi yarukin. It's the greenest of green. Adamdam adam shiba adumi. The reddest of red. 50. But the kohen examines it. There's a nega, the affliction. The isker, a nega shivas yamim, and he will then quarantine the garment for 7 days. Right. And then he will examine after 7 days. This is a negabi the affliction on the 7th day. Kipasa anega, because if the pasa means spread, the nega, the affliction, but beg it in the garment, whether it's on the warp or the woof of the threads, right? Warp, woof, right? Or within the leather that doesn't have warp or woof, right? That any type of work that was done with this leather, tzaras, it is a tzaras. Mameres haneged tamehu is the tzaras is onerous and he is impure. Tzaras mameres lashin silon mamer. This is a term, silon mamir, a painful thorn. Poignant in Old French. Of a midrasha, and the midrashic understanding of this word is heim by me'era shalai yanayimenu, a place of curse, ma'ara, which may not derive any benefit from it. Okay. 52. B'tzarav zabeged. Then you must burn the garment, right? If it's got this spread on the garment. Also the threads themselves. Whether it's of wool or pishtim or linen, or it's called Clio or any kind of used leather article. Okay, so you got to burn this. That there should not be an affliction, kitzaras, because it is tzaras, hamameres. It's an onerous one. Va'ishti sorif, and fire burn it. Repetition there of fire burn it, seemingly. Okay, we're in 52. Temer pishtim. Shel temer meaning of wool, or shel pishtim, or of linen. So that's a simple meaning of midrasha. The midrashic explanation. Yochol, you might think temer that I should bring shearings of wool, and pishtan and bundles of flax stalks, and burn together with the afflicted garment. Talmud Laimar. Hmm. You might think that other kinds of wool and linen have to be burnt with it. The word says, only that you have to burn. Why would you think that? I don't know. And it's not required. Another thing to be burnt with it. What would be the reason you would think you would add something that doesn't have tzaras to burn with it? So then why does it say why does it say it? It's repetitive. With bit semer with because it says a base. Leslie, you got it. Bit semer with the semer. That means something's with this wool. Other wool, it sounds like, right? But he says, no, it's not. It's only this wool that you're burning. So then why does it say with the wool? What's with it then, right? Like to exclude the borders of the afflicted garment. That are a different kind of material. How does you have a piece? Let's say you got saras on your scarf, and you have fringes on the end of the scarf. You have different kind of material on the end of the scarf. That part you don't burn. Okay. Because it's a different material, even though they're bound together. Keep us not all as I share a nega. Yeah, 1 second. Lashon Safa, Hem, Kamoy Imri. Aha. All right. 53. Be'im yira koyin mihine like basam. And if the koyin will examine and see it, that it did not spread. Hanega bebegar v'shasi bar v'chol klior. V'tzi ba'al koyin v'chibs as called boy hanega v'yiskir shivas yomi shenis. So then the koyin must order that that part of the article, right, and that has a nega has to be washed and then must be quarantined again for 7 days. Rashi 54, last Rashi is called Asher Nega, which contains the affliction. Yochel Mokom Nega Bilvad. You might think that's only where the affliction is alone. Talmud Laimar, but the verse says Asher Boy Nega, that which contains it. Yochel, so then I might think Kol Abega Kula Tayin Kibos, that the entire clothing needs washing. Talmud Laimar, but the verse says Nega. Kate says, how do you do that? Chavez says Kol Abega Dimai. You should wash that part of the garment along with entire affliction. Okay, wonderful. Okay, we'll see you shortly, folks. Bye.